Oh, welcome back to the Holy Shiftball podcast, the show where we challenge everything you've been taught about your mind, your energy, and your reality, one cosmic giggle at a time. I'm Bethany, your energetic bestie, alongside my fabulous, wonderful soul sister and co-host. Hey, Sharon.
Hello, Bethany. How are you today?
Oh, well, what do I usually say if I was any better? I'd be a twin. Oh, Lord, girl.
And with that in mind, what was your holy shift ball? It has to be good, because if you're any better, you'd be a twin. So
Well,
what was that wonderful holy shift ball moment this week?
oh, wow. So, been really busy doing a lot of things. We were on Potapalooza yesterday, interviewing so many people, and with the membership and everything that I'm doing, I have found the power of the pause, girl. Where at night I am setting intentions before I go to sleep, and I'm telling you what, I am feeling a shift within my body, being or in reality, and that has been my holy shift ball this week, is the power of the pause.
Getting back to your inner you, your inner beauty, and just reconnecting with self. Love it. Love
Yes.
it.
Yes, girl. Well, what about you? What is
Well,
your holy shift ball moment for the week?
mine is before I go to bed at night too. There's a new person I'm following in the spiritual realm, and he teaches people actually how to attain an out of body experience
Oh,
and how to see the other side. And so he talks about what he's experienced over there, and how to get there, what to expect, what you're going to see, and all of that.
okay.
And but one thing he talks about is what happens after.
Okay.
And when you're over there, it's all about love. And so, but I don't know if everybody, our listeners, have heard it, but there are spiritual talk in the spiritual community about a life review. So after you pass away, you have a life review where you go over what has happened in your life. And he said, you're the one judging yourself, and you're only judging yourself on what the things you did outside of love.
Hmm.
So for the last few weeks, I've been asking myself, is this done with love or is this done without love? And it's amazing every day how many times I say, ooh, I got to get back to love here. I've got to. So
Yeah.
that's my holy shift moment, trying to stay in love.
Well, speaking of, I am
I know.
so excited for this guest that we have on this week. Who is it, Sharon? Who have we got?
We have got an amazing powerhouse guest this week. Today we are sitting down with Ian Foster. Ian is part of the Arena System, a cooperative of 22 identities sharing one body and working together in real life, a real cooperative. Together they built a career, blending over 25 years in law, including time as a government tax prosecutor. They combined this with business coaching and energy work.
Wow. Wow.
It's amazing. And
Amazing.
now they help entrepreneurs align their values and the law and grow confident, thriving businesses.
Wow.
And their mission is to break the stigma, raise awareness, and show that dissociative systems are not what you think. There's something far more powerful.
Yes.
Without any more further ado, let's welcome Ian to the show.
Ian.
Hey, yes, we are people too.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
And before we start off with this fabulous time together, what is your holy shift ball? What is your moment that when you were going through it, it was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening to me. But after you come out the other side, you're like, holy shit, this happened for me.
It did definitely happen for us, and our life has been full of holy shift ball moments. I think probably the biggest one was So right now, you're speaking to the host of the system. So the way dissociative systems usually work is there's one identity who controls the body most of the time. I'm called the host. That is a simple convenience. It's not my body. I'm not the real Ian. It's just easier if one identity controls the body most of the time. But like most hosts of the system, I did not know we were a system. I thought it was my body. I thought not only that I was the real Ian, but I was the only Ian. And so my big awakening was being like, oh my God, I'm not alone in here. What is going on? And for us, that happens. So I am also what our system calls the sober host, meaning I, as an identity, I was chosen to be a host because sobriety is a fundamental value for me. I don't drink and I don't use. That doesn't mean I don't ever want to or I'm never tempted, but it means it's a value that I uphold very strongly. But the other identities were coming out, and we were, as a system, drinking and using, often without my knowledge as the host. And that was very confusing for me. I couldn't understand what was happening. And then, sort of about a year ago, things kind of all came crashing down. We realized that we had relapsed. Well, some knew I realized that we had relapsed in our drinking and using, and that bigger deeping was necessary, and that the old coping skills and the old strategies for staying clean and sober and aware in life were not working anymore, and we had to start looking inside. And thankfully, I've been trained in some healing modalities that are very good for looking at your inner parts, and I've been trained in interfamily systems, the mental health work, and that kind of got me started. And then it started off with one of the littles. We call this one Little Ian. He presents as a 4-year-old inside. He was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm here." And I realized it was not simply. And we all have inner parts. We all have the little boy and the little girl and everything inside. I realized this was beyond like the little boy inner part. That this was someone who saw themselves as completely separate identity within the body. And then one became two, became three, became four, and at last count, we are 22 total, including me. Although we are quite sure that there are a number others who simply have not revealed themselves yet.
You know, I'm s- I, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. So you say, let's go back to like you drinking and drugging. One identity would partake, and then let's say the next morning comes and you shifted. And would you wake up and not even realize that you had, drank and drugged? This is totally. Explain that to me.
Um, so it's difficult to explain. Um, I mean, part of it is it was just my subjective experience, and I didn't know anything different. I knew something was wrong with me, but didn't know what. But I only knew something was wrong because I looked around and other people just they didn't seem to live the way I did.
Right.
But um, this was when our system was still very walled off, and we were not communicating with each other, and we did not have memory continuity when we switched back and forth, and we did not have common goals and values. We were working across purposes.
Got it.
And so my life was like a dream where nothing made sense. But when you're in the dream, you don't know nothing makes sense. Of course, there's an elephant driving that pink Cadillac. And of course, the rainbow is farting and pooping all over me because you're in the middle of the dream. You're just like, what else would be happening right now? And then you wake up and you look back on the dream and you're like, oh my God, none of that made sense. So that's what my life was like. It was like a dream where nothing made sense, except it was all I knew. So I didn't know it didn't make sense.
Right.
When was the moment that you realized that you had more than one identity inside of you, not just internal family systems with the small children that we all have inside,
Mm-hmm.
but distinct identities? How did that realization come about, and can you walk us through that?
Well, it started when some of us inside were hurting so bad, and we're so tired of carrying these burdens alone and not working together that we thought, well, we'll just drink ourselves to death. Forget it. We'll just start over in the next life. It hurts too much. So if nobody's going to listen to me, we'll just poison ourselves to death. And so we landed in the hospital. And some of us had a hard time understanding how we got there or how we could have all this alcohol and stuff in our blood. And so then it started with kind of a thankfully I've worked in and around mental health for a long time. So, and my wife is a therapist. And so she and I together were like, what if we're dissociating? And of course, there are lots of, again, this is another, dissociation is a scale. Everybody dissociates, right? Even if it's just you're looking at the computer and you zone out, that's dissociation. But we thought, what if I'm dissociating to the point of there being like no memory continuity? And then what if that means there's more than one identity? What if I have a dissociative disorder? And so we just sort of started asking those questions. And then I started using some of the techniques that I had at my disposal that I've helped clients with and used with clients. But it's one thing to understand everything up here, it's another thing to use the tools in your
Right.
heart. And that's when I used a specific technique that I have to sort of call out. And I got an intuitive hit that there was a 4-year-old who wanted to talk. And you sort of start to realize this isn't just the inner child within. This is somebody else. And then the 16-year-old wanted to talk. And then the 25-year-old wanted to talk. And this all happened over the course of about a week. And then at one point, the 25-year-old let slip. He said something like, we. And I'm like, who's we? And he's like, oh, shoot, I wasn't supposed to tell you that. Like, you're not ready to know. How many are in there? And then so that was kind of it was like that week was kind of the moment. And then fortunately, because I've been educated on dissociative disorders, I've met people with dissociative disorders. It was not a scary thing for me. It was like, well, if this is what's happening, I want to know this is what's happening, and let's dive into it and let's figure this out. And so then that willingness then started to it made a safe space for others to say, yeah, we're here and this is what's happening. And of course, as the host, they're all like, yeah, you idiot. Of course, there's a lot of us. How could you not have known? Right. But
Right.
although that's the whole point of DID is to hide it from the host. The host is not supposed to know.
Oh,
So, that's sort of a trauma in itself, learning all of that. But I decided to turn that trauma into something beautiful. And now we're to the point where we live such a beautiful internal existence that we wish everybody could experience life like this, but without the sustained trauma and neglect that goes into producing it in the first
Creating
place.
it.
and first off, I just want to say I sending you so much love because for you to step out and share this is just absolutely so amazing. And for me, it feels like, just have to have almost balls of steel because, you're really putting yourself out here for people to do what humans do, like we said, judge and misunderstand everything. But what does communication inside the system look like? How does one say, okay, I'm going to step to the forward. No, host, it's your turn to step back. How does that communication look?
It is. Hi, I'm not alone right now. I almost said sorry, but we don't apologize anymore for existing.
Beautiful.
It just got really crowded. So I'll see if I can explain while the system decides who's going to take over. Sometimes it's verbal, like just now. Like just now, I said hello with the voice. I was saying hello to someone specific. So sometimes we will use the voice. Often it's more of a subvocal or a thought process, but a verbal thought, like when you think words in your head. Sometimes it's simply energetic. You send an emotion or a feeling or an idea or a picture to one another. So, and that communication gets easier the more you practice. It used to be like in separate rooms where you couldn't see or hear the other person. Now it's more like we're in cubicles in a big office and we can kind of peer over, and see what the other person is doing. And we have like a common area where we can all hang out and commune. So the communication varies in that respect, and it depends on the capacity of the ones doing and receiving the communication. Some of us are very verbal, some are very visual. We have our youngest presenting altar presents is just a few months old, so she is pre-verbal. She communicates entirely through energy and emotion. So it happens in a lot of different ways. And then as far as deciding who is going to control any given moment, my name actually, the name of the altar you're speaking to is Julian, the host of the system. Since I'm the host, it's easier for me to go by Ian most of the time, less confusion. But so I am in control by default. So if we don't know who's taking over, it's usually me. We usually wake up as me, though not always. We usually go to bed as me, though not always. And then the system switches as needed for the altar who's best equipped for the specific circumstance we're in. And that's not always me. So I'm only in control about 2/3 of the time. And I wouldn't want to be in control any more than that. Like you people who have to control your body 100% of the time, I'm sorry, that looks fucking exhausting. Like,
Welcome to the Holy Shiftballs show.
Like that sounds crazy to me that you control your body the whole time and you don't get to just go inside and take a break. That's crazy to me. So, and then often it's just like, hey, I want to say something. All right, well, come on out, say something.
Yeah.
So, Julian, I have so many questions. I'm not sure which one to ask first. I'm fascinated and very blessed and feel very, very honored that you joined us today. What if you say, what if another identity comes forward? Because you call yourself a cooperative, like, right? It's a cooperative. And I mean, I have 5 siblings, and growing up, there wasn't always cooperation, right? And it's like that in any family. But what if you said, like, say you're speaking to us now, and a couple of the other identities come forward and say, we want to speak, and you say, no, I'm running this show. This is it. I'm staying in control. Do they have any recourse? Is there something how can they make your life miserable, or do they just accept it and say, okay, you know what? You're a good representative. We'll just let you run with it.
I'm going to let somebody else take that question.
Oh.
Hi, you can call me Amber.
Hi, Amber. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure and an honor, and we appreciate you creating a safe space, and we appreciate you helping us as we just try to get the message out and show people that, we're just people too, just like everybody else. I'm one of the system gatekeepers. So your question about, deciding who comes out and what the recourse is that, so I'm one of the ones who decides that inside. And so normally, if someone, sometimes the switch just happens. So that's kind of what just happened. What now? I did want to come out, but also the system realized I was better equipped to answer the question. So the system was like, all right, come on. So sometimes we just switch. And if the switch is coming automatically, we don't fight it unless we think the switch would be physically or emotionally unsafe. The system seems to have a collective wisdom, and we trust that. Now, if we are, in a crowded place and the system is trying to get one of the littles to come out, and we don't want to be a 4-year-old in a crowded place, it's not safe, the gatekeepers like me will stop it. Now, as far as people wanting to come out, when it's not like what we think of as sort of a switch that just happens, but if somebody wants to come out, then I guess, again, we assess, like, is it physically and emotionally safe to have that identity out right now? And we might also assess, are they well equipped to deal with whatever's going on in the moment? And then if so, we just tend to allow it. We are very free with our switching. We are very open with it. And we want everybody in here to feel like, not just feel like, but to know, to experience that this is their body too. Nobody here is greater or lesser. Nobody is more or less important, more or less special. Everybody in here has an equal claim on the body. And so if somebody wants to come out and interact with the people around us and experience life and experience joy, then by all means do so. As long as you're equipped for the situation and it's safe to do so, then we're happy to allow it.
Okay.
Yes. What is something people commonly misunderstand about the dissociative system?
I'll try to choose from our very long list. So a couple of things. One, if you've seen DID in the movies, you haven't seen DID. Okay. Just
Okay.
stop. There are a few shows and movies that have some decent enough representations of what it's like, at least roughly. Here's the other thing. If you've met one dissociative system in real life, then you've met one dissociative system in real life. What you are seeing right now is how a dissociative system presents in us.
Okay.
You may meet other systems. In fact, I am certain you already have, and it presents differently in them. We have different numbers of identities. The number of identities is not static, so that's another misconception, is that at a certain age you have a certain number of alters and that's what it is. No, our number of alters can and does go up and down as needed over time. We can be as varied inside as any group of people. So I, for example, present as a 39-year-old Latina. So I don't necessarily, what I see in the mirror is not what other people see when they look at the body. We fight and argue.
Okay.
We have disagreements. And I mean, I guess I hate that I feel the need to say this, but because of Hollywood, I'd like to say we are not dangerous.
Oh, no.
We don't eat children. And yes, I'm referencing a specific movie. Okay. In fact, DID systems tend to be highly compassionate, empathetic, peaceful people, just by nature.
You would have to be.
And we deal with all the same shit that you do. You know, we're just trying to keep a roof over our heads and put food on the table and live out our mission and make a difference in the world and experience joy, which is literally what everybody's trying to do.
Amber, how do you, okay, so you said that you see yourself as a 39-year-old Latina woman. So then is it, this is a question and I'm not sure how to phrase it. You don't feel like, okay, yeah. I'm trying to be delicate and sensitive.
No, there's no need to be delicate. I'm, you're not going to offend me.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't feel like you're living in a man's body, A, and B, second part to this question is, have you ever, you said identities come and go. Have you ever lived inside a female body?
So our body is that of a straight, white, cisgendered male. It has always been that. It is still that. And we have not attempted transition, although we have periodically thought about it. At this point in life, we're not interested anymore. So we are all pretty much, I don't know if comfortable is the right word. We know what we are. Okay. I personally am, I am comfortable in the body. I don't feel like I'm missing something or like there's something wrong with me. There are others who have a little bit more body dysphoria than I do. I do get a little bit because sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, ooh, oh, that's not me, but of course it is me. And I'm personally bisexual, so I don't mind that the body is straight. That doesn't bother me. But we do have, for example, like heterosexual females inside, and it is a little more frustrating for them.
Okay, I've got a great question. Okay, yeah. Okay. How hard is it to pick out the body's clothes and meal choices?
It is not hard anymore. we
Because if somebody wants like nachos and the other one wants taco, and this purple dress looks great, but I'm
yeah.
to be in court, so I need to wear a suit. Yeah, yeah,
So if we need to dress a certain way, not need to, we never need to. There is no have to. We always have agency, right? If
right.
we are choosing to dress a certain way for certain circumstances, if it's a legal meeting where we have to look professional, or if we're going to a wedding or a funeral, we dress appropriately for the circumstances. You know, not
Yes.
because we are real big on societal expectations, but because we don't want to be the one person who's kind of like a distraction for everybody else. Who's, they're there for a reason. On a day like today, where we can wear anything we fucking want, we kind of take turns. We have a couple inside. Stephanie, who is a straight female, and Joseph, who is a gay male, do a lot of the dressing of the body. And great.
Yeah.
So they are usually in charge of dressing us. And the rest of us don't mind. Some of the males, like Julian, who our host, is pretty gender fluid.
Mhm.
He identifies mostly male, but he could kind of go either way. And we have a couple of males inside who are a little more masculine in presentation, but they're fine with whatever we wear.
Yes.
When it comes to food, um, we all have different preferences, so we try to stay away from things that one of us really doesn't like.
Mhm.
As far as things we really do like, we kind of take turns in making sure that everybody gets something like that. And we
Okay.
have one inside named Janine who does most of the cooking. She used to
Oh,
front when we learned to cook as a child, so she does a lot of the cooking now. And so she tries to make sure that we eat things that are yummy and healthy. And then we have others like, the littles want to have fun snacks that kids want. So we make sure they get fun snacks.
Right. Gotta have
Sarah,
those.
Yeah.
where's my hot dog?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
dissociative identity disorder is created from trauma, correct? Is that okay? So if as an arena, as a unit, if you go into therapy or deep healing of any kind and start to heal, bring the wounds to the surface that cause trauma and identify them and heal them, what does that do to the internal identities if you're healing the trauma? How does that affect the system as a whole?
I'm going to let one of the trauma holders answer that.
Okay.
I'm not one of the trauma holders.
Okay.
Hello, you may refer to me as Aaron.
Hi, Aaron. Is that
So
I'm
Aaron,
sorry, Aaron?
Aaron with an E.
Okay, Aaron with an E. Okay, perfect. Thank you for joining us, Aaron.
Thank you. We appreciate you providing a safe space, and we appreciate everybody who's watching. So the sort of modern theory of dissociative disorders, it's called the theory of structural dissociation, and it's still just a theory, but it's kind of where the evidence has been leading over the last few decades, is that everybody is born multiple. It used to be thought that people were born as a single integrated ego, and due to trauma or neglect before the ages of 6, 7, 8, that ego would fracture as a protective mechanism. And then once you hit that age, you remain fractured and your number of alters remain the same. Under the theory of structural dissociation, and again, there's still debate about this, everybody's born multiple as separate egos as children. And the normal, who gets to decide what's normal? The normal human development is that around the ages of 6, 7, 8, those egos fuse into a single identity because it's more adaptive and it's easier to function in society that way. However, if there is sufficient trauma or neglect before those ages, you do not fuse. And once you get past those ages unfused, you generally don't. You remain multiple, and now that you are accustomed to being multiple, the number of alters can go up or down as needed. Now, my specific trauma is somewhat spiritual and energetic. I was born out of a trauma in our early teen years. I have a twin brother inside. He and I were both born out of that. The system is aware of the nature of the trauma and generally what happened, not the specific memory itself. And even while I'm fronting right now, I know I have to be careful not to access that memory directly, because while I'm fronting, if I access the memory, the system can relive it. And
Okay.
we are not at the stage yet of directly accessing trauma memories and reliving them.
Mhm.
One of the littles released his memories when we became unmasked and aware about it, last year. But other than that, the other trauma holders like me are doing our jobs in the system and understanding the nature of the trauma without releasing the memories. And whether or how we ever release those memories to the system, we don't know. It may be that there are certain memories where it's simply not productive, that more harm than good will come from it, and understanding the nature of it is more than sufficient to process it and integrate and understand. Now, um, there are certain clinical models that would want us to release those memories, process them, and then fuse back together into a single ego. Um, in some cases, that fusion is forced through clinical methods over a long period of time. We view that as a psychological violence.
Yeah.
Now, there are some systems who wish to fuse into a single ego, and that is their choice, and that is beautiful that they have agency and can exercise that choice. Our system does not wish to.
Okay.
We enjoy our separateness, we enjoy our multiplicity, we enjoy sharing the body, we love one another deeply, and for us, that would be traumatic in itself, being forced to fuse back together. Now, some of us may fuse into one another, or we may split again. And if that all happens as part of the natural evolution of our system, that's fine. But for us, integrating means learning to function well together and live an adaptive, harmonious life and accomplishing some beautiful work in the world, but doing it as a multiple.
Yes, I love that.
Beautiful.
I love that. Thank
Mhm.
you for sharing, Aaron. Aaron, what would you want someone or would like, not want, what would you like for someone to understand before they form an opinion about dissociation?
Well, we would encourage people to try not forming so many opinions and judgments about other people, period, because it is not our place. Now, that is easier said than done. Forming opinions and judgments about others is a natural part of being a human, and sometimes we have to resist that instinct. But simply being open and understanding and realizing that everybody around you, no matter what their neurodivergence, being multiple is simply one neurodivergent scale among many, that people are people.
Yes.
And we are all living out generational traumas, multiple life traumas, and doing our best to heal from them. And it is simply not our place to judge anybody else's healing journey. And if others wish to judge our healing journey, well, that's on them, quite frankly. And we do not judge them for judging us, because that is simply part of their trauma as well. And we can't
Exactly. It's a
say they're
reflection of
blunt.
them.
Yeah, and it is a reflection and a projection of them. Of course,
Yeah.
as are you both. We are seeing ourselves reflected in both of you right now. That is simply the human experience. Um, and so, if people are on a different healing journey, then they are. And sometimes, yes, we do experience the pain of rejection and abandonment and loss from that, and that does hurt. And we acknowledge that hurt, and we process that, and then we free them on their own journey.
Yes.
Aaron, and I know I'm not asking for diagnosis or anything as such, but do you have any insight for any of our viewers who are wondering if they have dissociative identity disorder? What would be some signs that they maybe, maybe it's time to go see someone about it? And again, this is not for all our viewers and listeners out there. We're not trying to diagnose or treat anybody. We're just sharing some wisdom.
Of course, the lawyers inside us are screaming out the disclaimers as well.
Sorry.
I am one of the energy workers inside, but the lawyers inside are glad that you gave the disclaimers. That simply some guidance from someone with lived experience, and perhaps someone out there has a similar lived experience and can draw hope from this and see that you do not have to suffer in silence, that there is happiness and joy to be found in learning who you are and what you are and coming forth and being open and authentic about it. So first, multiples are a much larger proportion of the population than most people realize. We are roughly as common as redheads. You may not see a redhead every day, and yet you are not surprised when you see a redhead. This is why I say, both of you and everybody listening, you have met multiples before. They just didn't tell you. And most multiple systems are not aware themselves that they are multiple, because OSTD and DID and other dissociative disorders by design are supposed to stay hidden. That is part of their adaptive function. So most of them are unaware. If you out there think, if you're watching this and you're wondering, oh my God, am I an unaware system? It is not for me or for us to say that you are or are not. You almost certainly have parts inside. Everybody has parts. The question is, how distinct are those parts? How far along that spectrum are there? You may have a very active parts system without being a dissociative system.
Okay.
What you want to look for is whether you've had memory gaps. Is it common for you to have minutes, hours, or days, or weeks go by beyond the simple zoning out, which everybody does? Beyond the going on autopilot, we all zone out, we all go on autopilot when doing our chores or driving or certain tasks. Beyond that, do you have actual gaps that you cannot explain? Do you ever suddenly find yourself someplace or somewhere or with someone and you're not really sure how you got there? Now, of course, because this is all you know, you quickly adapt to the situation because you're used to it. Like we once did. We would wake up somewhere, not know where we were, but it would take us only seconds to adapt, and nobody around us would know that anything happened. Do you hear voices in your head? No. Lots of us hear voices in our head, but we're not talking about your internal monologue. So Aaron, I have my own internal monologue. I think to myself, and I have my internal dialogue with the fellow alters in the system, my brothers and sisters, which is distinct from my internal monologue. And we also channel and can speak to entities beyond these three dimensions. So that may be what you're hearing as well. You may be channeling, you may be in touch with other entities or other beings. But are these voices somehow internal and feel part of you? These are the sorts of things to look into. And you may be thinking, but I had no childhood trauma. If you were to ask Julian or the one we inside call Ian, who was our former host before Julian was the host, they would both tell you that they lived an absolutely idyllic, perfect childhood and nothing was ever wrong. That is by design.
But you know different. Exactly. Yeah.
They are supposed to think that we lived an idyllic childhood. And yet, here we are, and DID is not our only diagnosis that is a recognized trauma response. We have 4 diagnoses that are recognized trauma responses. That is one of them.
Wow.
So I would suggest not self-diagnosing. You may self-suspect. You may wonder. Then please speak to a clinician about it. Find a clinician who is well-versed in it and speak to them. Find a clinician who is open-minded to hearing your personal experience, to learning with you, a clinician who understands that DID is not something that is broken to be fixed, and a clinician who is willing to follow you on your healing journey, and then be open with that clinician, be honest, and be open with their feedback as well.
Yeah.
They may come back and say, you know what, we don't think this is what you are, but you do have active internal parts, and that's still something beautiful and wonderful to work with. And don't hope that you don't have DID. Don't hope that you do have DID. Simply hope to find out who and what you are and accept yourself for who and what you are. And don't get too stuck on the diagnosis.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yes, Aaron, what is working with you look and feel like? How do you
Hmm.
assist your clients?
Um, well, now that we are an unmasked and aware system, our clients tend to meet more than one of us.
Mm.
And we have several inside who are quite talented attorneys and educators. And so, for one on one legal services, it is like working with a lawyer, although you've seen us and met us now. It's not really like working with most lawyers.
I
You're the
know.
best.
I used to manage a law firm. It's not like working with most lawyers.
No, you've had to herd cats before. We are sorry for that.
It's all good.
Um, so you you can hire us as an attorney, and in some ways, it is like having a lawyer. We will advise you. We will consult with you. We will draft documents for you. We will help you plan. We mostly do education now. We tend to like to help people in community. So most of what we do is in community through groups and workshops and accountability groups and courses, these types of things. And we have been very excited that the energy we put out of it has attracted incredible, loving people to the community who all support one another. And so we do a lot of education, and we also do energy healing and meditations. I am one of the healers inside. And so, because I was born out of a energetic trauma, I was born with a natural energetic gift, and so I am now able to use that gift to support the system and support our friends and our clients as well. We end up doing as much energetic work as we do legal work with you, because the legal stuff quite naturally provokes anxiety in people. And
Mhm.
we find that if we do not understand the source of your anxiety and overwhelm around the legal and business and tax issues, then there's no point in us helping you. We are wasting our time and your time. So we do the energy work to help you get to the root of that so that you can move forward.
Well, I had the pleasure of working with Ian, and I'm gonna tell you what, the energy work was top notch. It was we had an amazing, I would have to say, I think we spent like an hour, an hour and a half, and it was just really, amazing time. And I am so grateful for that. Yeah. So thank you for everything that you are doing. And
Mhm.
Sharon, do you have any more questions, hon,
It,
before we shift
it,
to the
I
short?
have like a million, but I'm going to let you off the hook. But
Or,
one thing I will add is that it doesn't surprise me that you have attracted amazingly wonderful, understanding, thoughtful, supportive community, because that's what you are internally.
Yes. He is an
So
amazing.
what you get out is what you put out is what you get back. So
that is
it
very
doesn't
sweet.
surprise me at all.
Thank you
They
so
are
much.
they are an amazing, group of people, and it's just it was a privilege for me, and it's a privilege
Mm.
for me today to be able to sit here and
Absolutely.
and be in your energetic field, and as you
Uh,
are absolutely shifting this world and their maybe a limiting belief around DID. So thank you again for everything that you're doing. But
well,
but before we let you go, we have an amazing segment called Shit or Shift.
Now we get to have some fun.
Yes. Okay. We are going to toss out some scenarios to you. You tell us if it's a shift. Yes, it's aligned. I'm having it. Woohoo. I'll take some more of that. Or if it's a total shit and it is a program, it is limiting. Yeah.
mm.
No, it's time to get it out.
Well, first I'm going to point out that that might be a false dichotomy, but we'll do our best to.
All right. All right. First question. First question. When someone says, just be yourself without understanding that self can be layered. Is that a shit or shift question?
Yes.
Shit.
Uh,
Yes. Yes.
It is a platitude, um, that we do not use and that we personally find unhelpful.
Okay. But we don't want to make you uncomfortable.
No.
We are
And-
not uncomfortable. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Aaron, are dissociative systems showing us that identity isn't fixed or challenging everything we thought we knew about the self? Shit or shift?
Oh, that is shift. And yes, we believe identity is not fixed. In fact, we believe identity is in very many ways chosen, just like values are chosen. And we would encourage people not to get stuck in their identity of I am this, I am that, I believe these things. Re-examine your identity on a regular basis. When you are stuck in your identity, then everything around you that seems contrary to that identity becomes a threat and is filtered out. You cannot grow, you cannot learn, you cannot understand other people. So we would encourage people not to get stuck in their identity and to allow their identity to shift and grow over time.
Yes. Great. All right. All right. When people fear what they don't understand instead of getting curious and asking those questions. Shit or shift?
Shift, we would say. It is natural to fear what you don't understand. That is built into us through evolution.
Yeah.
And yet, we have reached a point in our evolution where we do not have to sit in that fear, where we can acknowledge it and thank it for doing the work it is trying to do, and then keep moving forward regardless.
Great. Thank you.
Is dissociative identity disorder a disorder or a deeply misunderstood form of human adaptation? Shit or shift?
That is a shift question, and it is dependent upon one stage. For most of our lives, we did experience it as a disorder in that it was adaptive in that it kept us alive
Mhm.
and helped us survive, but we were not functioning at anything like our full capacity or experiencing our full potential because it was holding us back. We now experience it more as an adaptive strategy
Mm.
where we are able to find our superpowers within, and we even experience something as a cheat code. Once you become an aware system who learns to work together, certain things in life become much easier than they used to.
All right. All right. If someone says, huh, that's not normal, as a way to dismiss something unfamiliar.
Mhm.
Shit or shift?
Hmm.
Hmm.
It is an If you hear someone say that, it is an opportunity for you to have compassion for that person and their healing journey. So I'm going to call it a shift moment out of a shit question.
Yeah.
Wow. Love it. Okay. Last question from me. If one identity feels pain and another doesn't, is that mind over matter or a mind divided? Shit or shift?
Hmm.
You can't offend us, Aaron, so just throw it
Oh,
out
no, it is not that. It is the internal conversation.
Mm,
Sometimes it's difficult to speak when there's a lot of noise in the head.
yes.
Hmm. Hmm. The system is stopping me from speaking right now,
there.
Okay.
which is interesting, which means we have some interesting internal exploration to do on that
Okay.
question.
That's fair enough.
Okay.
They-
That's
Fair
that's
There is nothing wrong with your question. We find it fascinating. Every time I try to answer it, I cannot speak.
okay.
Okay.
That is an answer. All right. Well, thank you so much. What is one thing you can share to our listeners today that could shift their shit right now?
Mm. We would love to shift everybody's shit.
I think you have shifted a few today for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Love your parts.
Ooh.
Internal
Love
family
your
systems.
parts and allow your parts to love you. and your parts may not be as separate and distinct as a dissociative system's, yet they are there and they are waiting for you. They are waiting for you to tell them that you love them and you care for them and that you want to listen to them and that you are proud of them.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you so much. Where can people connect with you and learn more about your work?
A good place to start is legalempowermentcoaching.com.
Okay.
And you are always free to shoot us an email at ian@legalempowermentcoaching.com.
Well,
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aaron and Ian and Amber and everyone else in the collective. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your vulnerability and your wisdom and your heart with us today.
and please
From
come
our
back.
heart to yours.
And please
We would
come
love to have you back. Absolutely.
We would be
Absolutely.
delighted. Thank you.
Thank you so much. From our hearts to yours. Wow. What an amazing divinely being. I mean, and my heart just like going woo.
And
You know?
it's always an incredible experience to speak with the collective and to be in their presence and their space. They are so honest and open and vulnerable and communicative. They want to communicate and let you know what they're thinking, feeling, how they are living and adapting to life. And it's just such an amazing awareness and such an amazing experience. And I can hardly wait till he comes on the show, or the collective comes on the show the next time.
And when he taps in energetically and pulls in his teams, it's just it's really awesome. So I totally encourage to reach out to him and have a communication, because it is an amazing conversation that
I'm definitely going to.
Yes. All right, Sharon, who do we have on the show for next week, girl?
Well, speaking of being tapping into other dimensions and other entities, we have a gentleman by the name of Daniel Jackson, who is a spirit medium. Daniel can provide you with the insight needed for living in today's world, as well as he will provide you with information from spirit, from archangels, so that you can gain an understanding of your purpose, why you're here, and what is waiting for you on the other side of this life. Daniel also says that he is the person who guides people to the light. So guides souls. Once a soul has passed over, if they don't know where they're going, they pass through him and he directs them to the light. So it's going to be a very interesting and eye-opening, mind-expanding conversation next week.
For sure.
It really is.
For sure. So be sure to like, follow, and share, and drop a comment if this episode shifted your shit. And Sharon,
1 second.
Remember,
I want to say thank you to all of the people who commented and were on live today. San Diego's Go Bar, as well as Danny. Thanks, Danny, for joining us. And it's always great to have everybody showing up live and commenting live. We love it. Thank you. Sorry.
And remember, Sharon, when life kicks you in the balls, be sure to tune in to your Holy Shiftball podcast,
where we help you turn that shit into a shift.
See you next Thursday, guys.
Bye-bye, guys.